That was quite feisty. We can now hear from MP for Assin North, Andy Apiakubi, who doubles as spokesperson for the group of NPP MPs who want the president to remove Mr. Ofori-Atta. He has been speaking on Joy News on PM Express.
We've gone back to sack him now, and therefore we expect that some action be taken in respect of relieving him of his position. We have also told the president that if he is not relieved of his position, we shall not cooperate or work with him or participate in anything that he brings to the to Parliament. And that position is where we are right now.
So that last bit, when you say anything that he brings, that is anything that is brought in the name of the executive president?
Under the hand of the finance minister, we will not participate. Okay. Because as far as we are concerned, we are not going to do business with him. And if we are not going to do business with him, he does not participate in any process from the presidency to the House. We will not participate in deliberations on it.
Okay. I asked this to get clarity. So if another minister comes to the floor, say education minister, energy minister, although they are coming on the authority of the president, you will hear them, you will do business with them.
We will so do, because we are not saying that we will do president business, but we will not do president business through Mr. Ofori-Atta. So if anybody else comes with president business to do, we will participate.
Senior finance lecturer at the University of Cape Coast Business School, Sarah Mkau, joins us to discuss latest developments. Good afternoon to you. Your thoughts on how the first day of hearings went, and if the minority has established real basis for which the finance minister should be made to step down?
The first day, initially, I thought the minority was not really ready for this particular engagement. The reason why I said this was that when the speaker ruled that they are supposed to meet at the ad hoc committee level, I was expecting the minority to put up all their documents and serve the committee with this document, and then the committee will serve the Minister for Finance. Unfortunately, that was not done, and so we heard the initial objections that they do not have the necessary documents that they needed for this thing to be done, and that was rather unfortunate. But sharply, the committee was able to come out with a way of resolving this particular issue. To talk about how the minority presented its document, they relied on laws, the rules of Parliament, and what the Minister of Finance is supposed to do in terms of expenditure, the Fiscal Responsibility Act, and the debt sustainability levels. Over time, I think they have made their point, and so it is now the onus on the finance minister to defend himself, and then the committee makes a final determination of the issues. Most of the issues that the minority had raised in Parliament are some of the things that we have been talking about as experts and analysts in the area. And I just hope and I pray, and it was my prayer that we don't reach this particular level. We don't reach this level because what is going on is sending a negative signal to the investment community and the general population in Ghana. Looking at what is happening, it has made it very difficult for Bank of Ghana to realize its treasury bill target. There has been shortfall over the weeks that we are talking because of some of these things. And then we hope that this will be resolved as quickly as possible so that we will have a positive signal to the investment community. Because of the delays that we are finding, it has also caused a delay in the reading of our budget. And that is not too good for our country, Ghana.
Well, we'll speak about the budget. The majority MPs, nearly 100 of them, have resolved to boycott the presentation next week if the president does not sack the finance minister, and will not do any government business through Ken Ofori-Atta. I wonder for how long the finance minister can keep on holding to his position.
You see, Derek, this is a key issue that government, the president, the vice president, the economic management team must sit down to look at. The finance minister is a key government official in terms of expenditure, in terms of government, raising of government revenue. This particular person is very important to the functioning of government business in Ghana and outside the country. If the people within the country, within your party, are not satisfied with what you have come up with, and they have raised issues on this particular issue, and the investment community had also raised issues about it, and that is denying us access to the international financial market, then this is the time for us to sit back and ask what is going wrong. If I were to be the finance minister, and unfortunately I am not, I would have resigned at this point to put Ghana first. The most important thing for the finance minister to do is to resign, and that will send a positive signal to the market. If he is holding onto holding that particular position, when members of your party, we have respected individuals in our country, the general public, the youth of Ghana are saying that put us first, resign, and let the country move forward. What is so difficult to do in that particular respect? So the signals that we are sending financially is very terrible for the country.
And to the extent that the MPs say they would not do any business through the finance minister, I'm wondering how that could impact on the IMF negotiations where the contributions of MPs are needed. If the finance minister is giving indication that he is not going to go away, the team from the IMF would realize that there is no confidence in him in the first place, and it becomes problematic.
Yes, that is going to be very problematic because the IMF team knows that the laws of the country are passed at the parliament, and the laws have to be respected, and everything that they are bringing must be approved by parliament. And so it is not about the president or the finance ministry, but it's parliament that is doing this. So if the minority is passing a vote of censure, and then the majority, 98 of them are saying that we want you to go, they are all speaking about the same thing, but in using different methods of talking about it. And that is also going to affect the IMF negotiations on whatever that they are doing today, because they could agree on a particular deal, and the deal goes to parliament, and the deal can be quashed. And that comes back to hurt the general population. And so at this point in time, the government, the presidency, the vice president, the economic management team, and the New Patriotic Party have to look at the effect of their actions today on the future of Ghana, on the future of the population, and all those. Because the issues that have been raised, I thought we would have done this behind closed doors, but the entire world is listening to us, and it is not too good for us.
Well, there are some who have argued the problem is not the finance minister. I mean, you can't pin this on one person. And then they ask, how dramatically would our economic situation change if Ken Ofori-Atta is replaced?
Yes, we have a particular leader who is in charge of what is happening, and it is the finance minister who have to take some responsibilities. We have suggested ways by which this issue could be tackled differently. And if you are using the same old method of doing the same thing and expecting a different result, and it is not coming, then we have to look at it differently. Of course, the finance minister has done well in the past, but he's not the only person who has all the financial brains in the country and within the New Patriotic Party to take decisions alone and advise the government on the way forward. When there is a different person that comes on board, just as we have seen in the UK, when they changed their finance minister within few weeks, of appointing him, the market responded positively. Of course, everybody thinks differently and they resolve issues differently. And that's what we want to see in our country, Ghana. And I'm sure that if we had a different person coming to head the finance ministry, things would have been handled in a much different way.
Well, I just want to switch topics and run this by you. Some news that we are getting this afternoon on the producer price inflation shooting up by 19.3% to 65.2% in October this year. Your reaction, and what does this say about what to expect when the overall inflation figures for November are released?
Yeah, Larry, we notice that anytime the producer price inflation shoots up, the general price level in the country also goes up, because that is the price at which producers are producing over a period of time. And this will be transferred to the consumer at the end of the day. And the retailers will transfer this to the consumer, and that will make the general price levels in the country also goes up. All these things come at the back of we not having some of the raw materials in our country, and we import these raw materials that is affected by the exchange rate that we are talking about. Most of the companies have to go and borrow, and they produce at very high levels. We have some companies that have bought some machines that they are not using because the people are not consuming the products that they are producing. And some companies are actually closing down over time. And so all these things boils down to the discussion we had earlier on with the exchange rate, the debt levels of the country, and all those things. And it is one man, one person who is in the helm of affairs doing all these things. And so that will generally affect the price levels in the country. So I wouldn't be surprised if the price inflation, the CPI comes and consumer price index comes in, it will go up.
Not to speak about the impact on industries as well. Thank you so much, Sarah Mkawo, who is Senior Finance Lecturer at the University of Cape Coast Business School. I appreciate your time. Now,